everyone, it's AJ and it's something to do on a Saturday. Did you know that April is National Rebuild Month? So we're going to take a trip to downtown Ashtabula and see what's happening down there, because there are a lot of projects going on. So come on, take a ride with me. So as promised, I am sitting here with the city manager, Jim Timonere. Thank you for having me here today.
And thanks for coming.
And we are going to talk about what I now understand to be the unofficial, in the planning stages, Ashtabula Downtown Revitalization Program.
That's correct.
So tell me, what are, I guess let's start with the plans. What are the exciting plans?
Yeah, so, a lot of this has just kind of come from the community itself. Main Avenue has struggled for a long time. We have a lot of buildings on Main Avenue, and unfortunately, some of our really big ones have been unoccupied for many, many years, even before my time coming here to the city. But we've always had that focus down here and been eager to work with the building owners and the business owners to really see Main Avenue kind of take off. The first start of that was when the Hotel Ashtabula was redone and is now occupied by Signature Health. Multi-million-dollar project using historic tax credits and different programs like that to redo that building. Now you have anywhere between 70 and 100 people working in that building, and then of course the clientele that they service coming downtown. You have several furniture stores, you have hairdressers, you have salons, we have banks. A lot of banks are down in this Main Avenue area, and of course you have City Hall and the services that we provide here. So there's always been the traffic. It's just been a matter of how do we get these buildings redone. One of the most significant projects that has come along, and this started probably about 2 or 3 years ago in discussions with a local developer who does historic buildings, and as a matter of fact was involved with the Hotel Ashtabula and revitalizing that. They have, through our work here in our offices, through some help with the US EPA, and then with the Ashtabula County Land Reutilization Corporation, better known as the Land Bank to many of us, we were able to acquire the Carlisle building and get that into this developer's hands. Their plans right now are to renovate it into apartments for, I believe they're targeting 55 and older right now, and with possibly a mix of retail on the first floor, retail or office space. So really cool project. Again, another multi-million-dollar endeavor, and we're extremely excited to see that kick off this year. That has always been one of the driving factors for Main Avenue, is getting people living down here that could then frequent the shops and things that are on Main Avenue. So having that type of influx of people, and especially right now where the housing market has, not just in the city but in Ashtabula County, it's gone crazy. We're seeing above market value sales. We're seeing, we do have a lot of rentals within the city of Ashtabula. They're full. It's very hard to get apartment space or housing for rent. We're starting to see those numbers climb as far as how much rent is being charged. So having this additional number of units come on the market is going to be huge for us. And I think that type of development and having that 5-story monstrosity that sat empty for, it's got to be 20 years now at least. Yeah, I mean, I remember as a kid going there. My father was a jeweler, and on the mezzanine, the little jewelry store that was up there, he used to do all the jewelry repair for them. So every Saturday we'd come down and we'd do drop-offs and pickups, and we'd go to Mr. Mead's popcorn stand and hot dog stand across the street, and we'd walk over to Sears and everything down here. So, I'm still in my 40s, but I still remember those times of Main Avenue when things were happening down here, with the retail sector, again, before the mall and different things like that. So I don't know if we'll ever get quote-unquote retail back down here, but I think Main Avenue and the steps that we're taking with housing, with some of the with some of the things that we're trying to attract down here, I could see Main Avenue becoming this 9-to-5 business district where you have a lot of people working, you have people living, you have nice little convenience stores, you have the restaurants where you go get lunch or an after work drink, a cocktail with some coworkers and things like that. And definitely trying to bring some of that nightlife back down to Main Avenue. One of the unfortunate things with the city of, well, I guess fortunate and unfortunate depending on how you look at it, we really have two downtowns. we have Bridge Street, and then we have our actual Main Avenue downtown. Both of which do not sit, well, Bridge Street does kind of sit along a main route, but when you think about main avenues in other towns, they're on like a Route 20 or a Route 84 and dubbed Main Avenue.
Yeah.
Ours is off of Route 20.
Yeah.
You know, so, and Bridge Street is 531, which is a state route, but we don't, I guess you don't consider that one as a state route as much as like a Route 20. So there is a challenge of having these two destination areas. Now, Bridge Street years and years ago decided that they were going to be the regional destination for tourism. And ever since somebody made that statement, everything that we've done around Bridge Street has revolved around that. The types of shops, the restaurants, the recreational activities that are down there. Everything is kind of revolved around that. Main Avenue, you know, I don't think we're going to compete on that type of level, but Main Avenue can be the hub for, you know, every resident that's in the city or the county might have to come downtown for something, whether that's a doctor appointment, going to a bank, the lawyers that we have down here coming to City Hall for something. So it's kind of more of a specific destination rather than just a, you know, tourist type destination.
A more functional, if you will, I guess.
Exactly. But then you add on top of that the layers of people living and working in the upper floors, and you really have something there. And that's what a lot of these downtowns are going to. What we've seen in these last couple of years, and just like we saw in the Carlisle building, more and more local people are saying they've had enough and taking control of these buildings. And that's really what spurred everything on Bridge Street. You had people that we could stand in front of a building, I couldn't tell you who owned it, I couldn't tell you where they were from. They exist as an LLC on somebody's books in a drawer. And that's really what these buildings exist at. Well, now you have some local people, the Richmonds, for example, that run Richmond Transportation down the road here. They've started buying up some of the buildings and doing things with these buildings. And they actually live on the street that I live on. So I know that if there's an issue with one of these buildings, I can go to them and say, hey, you know, how can we help you out? Or there's some things that need to be done at these buildings, where 5-10 years ago we couldn't do that, especially here up on Main Avenue. So we're starting to see that inventory start to turn over, which is a good thing. Now you add Carlisle's on top of that. Now you're going to get some of these owners that they're going to have to do something with their buildings. Unfortunately, we don't have many buildings down here that are turnkey, that, you know, I can say, hey, I want to rent that, slap some paint on the wall, turn the lights on, and I'm ready to operate. They need some significant work, and that's on us as a city to get them motivated to do that. If there's grant funding out there, to try to find ways to assist with that. We've designated most of the downtown area now as a historic district. So what that means is if one of the building owners wants to go after historic tax credits, we can designate their building as that, and it opens up another funding stream for them. I can tell you this Carlisle project nor the hotel project could have been done without historic tax credits. And some of the other benefits that are out there from a state and federal level. You need those kind of influxes of cash for the size of these buildings for them to be profitable. If they, as they sit today, you know, until the market continues to go up a little bit, that return on investment just isn't there for them as much as needed to these buildings. And the other thing, when we talk about the seconds and third and fourth floors of some of these buildings, you know, codes have changed over the years. So now, if you're going to put people on those floors, there are different codes that need to be followed for egress and entrance, you know, fire escapes, different things like that. You can't just put people up on a floor and one way to get out anymore. So that's been a hesitation too with some people redoing the buildings, just because of once you knock a wall open, everything in the building has to be brought up to code. Mm-hmm. So you know, we try to bring our fire department in, bring the building department from the county in, and say, walk around with an owner and they'll give ideas, and then we can step back and say, well, if you do this, now you're going to have to follow this, or if you do that, now we get into this realm of the code. So we'd like to be as open and honest with people as we can. We don't want them to get into a project, do something they shouldn't have done or didn't need to do, and then it, you know,
and then they have to abandon it.
Exactly, it turns into a $50,000 project now for just because they did one thing. So those are some of the challenges we have with downtown. But I really do believe, especially with this Carlisle project, that is going to spur. That's going to be transformational for our downtown. Having those type of apartments here, having that influx of people here, what they're planning on doing with the parking lot out back and cleaning things up. This whole town, when you say Carlisle's, they remember those glory days of that. So there's going to be some nostalgia also with the people moving into there, of being in the Carlisle building. So.
Oh yeah, how cool would that be?
Yeah,
I'm just hoping that one of the retails downstairs is a bakery.
Yeah, that'd be nice. And actually, we do have a bakery right across the street now with Main Avenue Bakery. So
that's right,
she's doing a phenomenal job there. If you've seen any of her stuff on Facebook and social media, Stacy has the cakes that she's putting out and just the desserts, and they even do lunches there, croissants and soups and things like that. She's got a really great business. We're happy to have her on Main Avenue.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Get over there and visit.
Yes, you do.
So are there other plans going forward? I mean, the Carlisle's, that's a big, huge, obviously that's going to be a big project. Is there other interest? Are there things that?
Yeah, so we've had some other interest. The former outdoor Army Navy store that's across the street, there's a new owner there, so we're in some talks there. We've had people interested in our old city hall down the road now, so hopefully maybe by the end of the year here we might see a transition there for that building. There's other little buildings scattered through here that we've talked to developers and some entrepreneurs that are interested in getting in and doing some work down here. There are some really cool people in this area that mentor some of the young entrepreneurs, and they provide business help through the NEO fund that I'm involved in. There's a lot of business coaching, and then there's some partners that we have through the community that can provide the capital that people need. Maybe they're not able to go to a traditional bank. This might be something they've been doing in their garage for years and years and years, but now they're ready to make a business out of it. And what we see as a big barrier to entry into market just is that influx of the cash they need to start up. And you bring your business plan to a traditional bank, and in the past it's been very hard to get them to lend to different things like that. So we've been able to provide other means as that gap, for the money that they need to have up front to get those kind of traditional loans, or to bank the unbankable. There's been some times where these organizations we've been involved with, in the beginning they could have never gone to a traditional bank, but we took a shot and got financing, and now they don't need us anymore. That's a great feeling when somebody has come that long. So we're hoping that same, and that's really how Bridge Street grew, and some of that same energy is now coming up to Main Avenue, which is really cool. And we're hoping for that same type of success. It didn't happen overnight on Bridge Street. It's not going to happen overnight here. And Bridge Street's still evolving, and we're going to continue to evolve here. But I think we're if it wasn't for this pandemic, I think we would be much further along even now, just sitting in March. But obviously the brakes were put on some things while everything got sorted out and keeping people safe. But the interest was never like, okay, that's it, we're pulling the plug on a project. We've not had one thing that's been planned actually say we're not going to go anymore. So we were looking really, really strong coming into 2020, and boy did we have to adjust just on every level. But now getting into 2021, people are very anxious to get back out there. We're hoping they don't do it too fast and still follow some guidelines and things like that. But we're hoping to have some of the activities this summer and late falls, as long as it's safe to do and our numbers dictate it. So one of the festivals that has come along on Main Avenue is called Art in the Alley. Down by Double and Down, which is a restaurant here on Main Avenue, they have a really cool alleyway that goes along their building, and then in the back of their building it's got a cover over the top of it. So in the past years they've set up easels with artists' pictures all along there. They've had demonstrations in the back parking lot, really cool things going on. They've even had culinary people come in and do cooking demonstrations. So that's been a way to drive people down to Main Avenue. We have some really cool whirly gigs that are put up every year
Yes.
on Main Avenue by a local artist. This year we're working with the Art Center to possibly do some graphics in the street. So Megan Humphrey from the Art Center is working on our behalf there to try to secure some things. So having that kind of artist flavor in your Main Avenue does well too. Chris Giacomo, who has Framed on Main down here, has an excellent business. Actually, some pieces that you see in the office we've had done down there at Framed on Main, but he has introduced kind of like that gallery type exhibition for local artists, and he has some of those on different nights. Been a really good showing. So we have those types of things here. I know people think of Ashtabula, and unfortunately there's more negative than positive, but this is one of those opportunities where we can either be our biggest cheerleaders or our own worst enemies. And there are some really cool happening things going on, and sometimes we all have to take the blinders off to realize, wow, that there are some cool things going on, and there are a lot of things to do here, and there are jobs here. So the more that we energize the community around that, and the more the community needs to see things happening. So when they see all the construction going on at the Carlisle building, or just around the corner from here, the Castle Block building, as we call it, it's a strip on Center Street. That building's also being redone, touching up the commercial on the first floor, doing apartments on the second floor, more of a high-end apartment. The former Parkhaven home, we have a new owner there. She's
exciting.
from Florida. She's been really cool to work with. Got some great ideas for that building. We haven't nailed anything down yet, but I think that building is going to be preserved for the future. So a lot of really good things going on, a lot of balls in the air as hopefully they start falling into place. But all of them together, I think are going to build a Main Avenue, maybe not what we used to know, but something cool and something neat that we're all going to be proud of.
Awesome. And I think it's very exciting. Not only is this an opportunity for Ashtabula County to grow and have this positive atmosphere, but from what I heard you say a little bit ago, this is also an opportunity if you're an entrepreneur or a small business that's maybe looking to grow.
Yep.
This is a wonderful time to maybe take advantage of an opportunity right here in Ashtabula
It sure
that
is.
may not be attainable later for you as a small business.
Absolutely. And we sometimes look at the values of our buildings and things like that, and we kind of frown at that. But you know what? We have a success story actually down in the harbor where the two people that came in to open a restaurant were from the New York area, and they were looking at opening a restaurant in that New York area. Well, for millions, literally millions of dollars less, they now have an extremely successful restaurant on Bridge Street. They're some of our young entrepreneurs that came to the area. They've been highlighted in food magazines, and really brought some notoriety to our area. But, here you have 4- and 5-star chefs that are cooking right here in Ashtabula, and they've done it for so much cheaper than they can open up, in New York or anything. So we have those benefits, and we have people coming here now and recognizing us from out of the area. So, the opportunities are endless. And some of these coaching things that I talk about for our young entrepreneurs, we've had seasoned business owners take those classes too, just for a refresher, just for, hey, what is going on with social media? How can I use that to benefit my business? Do I need to get in and retouch up my business plan? Is there things that I need to do and evolve with the times? And some of the very seasoned business owners that have sat through these classes have come out and said, wow, I have a new perspective and a new energy about even the business I've operated for 25 or 30 years. So there's a lot of cool things that happen when you get a bunch of business owners in a room that don't see each other as competition, but realize that their success contributes to my success. Once we finally got to that level across some sectors here, not only in the city but in the county, things have really taken off for us. This Carlisle project is not only good for the city, but it's good for the county.
Oh, absolutely.
So those are the types of things that maybe before we didn't look at, or we got jealous of Saybrook Township or Ashtabula Township because that place chose to go there rather than come into the city. But I look at this as these businesses are going to employ at least one of my residents that live here. So that means revenue for us through income tax or whatever that case may be. So, if somebody calls and says, hey, I need 20 acres and we want to put this, super factory in your town, right now I don't have 20 acres, but hang on a second. Let me see if I can find you something. And we work with the townships and we work with the growth partnerships, and it just doesn't stop because we can't provide an asset. We still need you in this county because it's still going to better us if that's going to be in the county. So taking a more regional approach, and even broadening that past our county walls and getting into Lake County and Geauga County, making sure that we show up in Columbus so that they know we exist.
Yes, absolutely.
For way too long when I first started here, I'd go to some of these meetings and, hey, Jim from Ashtabula, I get the looks around the room, and finally somebody came up to me and said, you guys haven't participated in years at these functions. So I do contribute a lot of my staff going to these meetings and myself going to these meetings, that some of those dollars are finally flowing back here, from the state, and they see what we're doing with those dollars. Bridge Street was another good example of that. We got a ton of grant money to help out on Bridge Street, and when we showed the success to the state, wow, they realized that those are projects that we can do, and we're trying to bring those same things here to Main Avenue now that Main Avenue is ready to jump on board with those things.
Awesome. And it is, I would imagine, kind of like a scaffolding. You were able to take Bridge Street and say, we're going to undertake this project, and it has built up fabulously.
Yeah.
So now you can say, we know how to use this money, we know how to use these resources.
That's right.
And you've built that reputation so we can continue to grow. So that's exciting.
Right. And one of the most difficult things with Bridge Street, I still remember having the discussions, we had to start somewhere. So when we decided it was the lower portion of Bridge Street, kind of from the bridge to Holbert, and we said, this is the area we're going to focus on. Well, immediately we got, well, what about me? I'm just outside of that. Or what about me? I'm just outside. Well, we had to start somewhere. And I tell you, there was a lot of people really upset with me when we said, it's got to start here, because that's what we could handle. But that success, as you see now with the townhouses, it's grown all the way up the street. We're hoping that wraps around the Lake Avenue now. And we're starting to see that because people want to be involved with Bridge Street. We've done a lot of work down on Walnut Boulevard or Walnut Beach as well. But the really exciting thing though is the connector between Main Avenue and Bridge Street is Lake Avenue.
Yeah.
And you have the hospital as our biggest anchor there. So people are going to travel Lake Avenue to get to either spot. So now it's making sure that Main Avenue becomes that destination where there's some cool things happening down here. So you can go to either one of them and still have a good time. And that's what we're really looking for. So there's going to be a build up on Main Avenue. We're going to continue to build in Bridge Street, and we're going to keep our eye on the Lake Avenue corridor to make sure that is successful as well.
And then who knows where it will go.
Who knows?
From here.
That's right.
We've got lots of directions to go.
We do. Yeah.
Who's next after Downtown Ashtabula?
That's right.
Get on the list now.
Well, and I really think at that point it's about maintaining, because there are times where communities can grow too fast, and we never want to be in that. We never want to be in that situation. So not only for the residents, but for the businesses themselves. You don't want all this influx at once that you can't handle. But with that success comes the issues of parking, comes the issues of garbage pickup, and where are you going to put all these new containers for everybody's business. So there's some good problems that come along with being successful, but that's where all the planning comes into this. And the Ashtabula Downtown Development Association, they've been wonderful to work with. It's a group of people that are business owners or building owners or just employees of businesses down here on Main Avenue that just care, and they put a lot into Main Avenue. They came up with a streetscape plan. So we have this plan for how there's certain elements of Main Avenue that we'd like it to look. And so we're able to take that plan, and as grants are announced from the state and federal level, we're able to look at those grants and say, well, this one fits into this portion of their streetscape plan. Let's go after it. And it's so nice to be able to have something to refer to, rather than saying, oh, now we got to do a plan. Now we got to get the buy-in. Now we got to have this passed by council. It's already there for us. And again, that was the same kind of success we had with Bridge Street. We had that plan. We were able to pick off things in that plan that we wanted to go after. So although the grant world has completely changed, especially over this last year, things are so much more competitive, and you have to have a lot more buy-in from the local community, meaning that if this grant weren't to come, there's still, this business is going to redo their facade, or this business is going to put a new roof on. So those investments are still being made. You have to have that buy-in, and it's got to coordinate just right. All the pieces fell into place when we got the grants we did on Bridge Street, and we're hoping that those same things happen up here. And I think with the group that we have together and some of the new building owners, we can make that happen.
Awesome, that's exciting.
Yeah, it is. It is.
I'm excited to see where it goes. So what is the projected, now obviously COVID has played a factor in it.
Mm-hmm.
When do we think we will start seeing some of the real transformation on like the Carlisle building?
Yeah, so we're hoping as we get into late summer, early fall, you'll start to see the construction roll in. They still have some things to get together with their the tax credits and things that they're going after, securing bids for different things. One of the things that is definitely hurting some of the renovations that are going on, even in your home, the cost of materials has just skyrocketed. Yeah. We're almost seeing a 15% increase per month for some of the products for home use. So that's making things difficult, for those that want to do things on a scale, especially like that. But so it's almost like a race. So it's like the sooner we can get to the game, the cheaper it's going to be. So I do think they're moving ahead, full steam, and hopefully we'll see something really soon. But I do think we'll see work begin by the end of 2021 here.
Awesome, that's exciting.
It is.
Well, I appreciate you taking time today
and
sharing the plans, and thank you very much.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Want to learn more about Ashtabula County? The Kingsville Public Library has all kinds of resources. Everything from history, places to visit, secret stories, covered bridges, or just pictures. How cool is that? So if you're looking for something to do on a Saturday, discovering Ashtabula County is a great thing to do. I hope you enjoyed this video today. If you did, please like, comment, and share so that your friends can become our friends. And until next Saturday, stay safe, stay well, and I will see you real soon.